Hackmania.com, promo code WATP. We're going to be in Las Vegas May 9th through 11th. I'll be there May 8th. Come down a day early. Hang out with us. We're going to have a blast. Live podcasts. Maybe Nick or Kato will be there. We don't know. But come down. Check out Hackmania.com for more information.
Who are these podcasts? WATP.
The reason why we picked this show is because the guest on it is none other than our boy, Joe Matarese, Joe Matarese. And we got the pleasure of seeing him do stand-up last night. He came to Rochester. Someone had told Joe to reach out to Vinny Paulino because Vinny books for the Rickles Room at the Comedy Club here. And so he reached out, and this was months ago. And Vinny said, sure, man. And so he played last night. He's got a sold-out show tonight. Very exciting. And so I just want to run down. I took notes throughout the show.
Yes,
we were all sitting at the same table, and we were enjoying ourselves quite a bit. So I want to run down a few things. First off, before the show starts, someone, it might have been Vinny, I forget who, someone told me, they're like, dude, Joe just brought up, he requested a chair with a back on it, like a stool with a back on it, because he put up these giant signs on the stage that were like his jokes. So I went ahead and took some photos of that because that was pretty wild. Let me start with this. This is just the room right here. They have a nice background. Vinny does a nice job for the comics, making them feel welcome. So it's got the, the Joe Matarese in the Rickles Room, the 93.7% Italian tour that we were there to see. There's the close-up of it. So after the show, I went up and took a couple photos of this.
Yeah.
So this is, if you're not looking at this, if you're just listening to the show, these are very big boards that are like dark with white writing on them, all caps. And it has things on here like Mary Opp, Fat Friend, PhD Barbecue. He did do that one. Community College, he did that bit. Italian Boat, he did that bit. Matarese, he definitely did that. I've seen a lot of these jokes before. Matarese, Giuseppe Matarese. I would have gotten laid in 4th grade if I got my Matarese.
Baseball porn, whatever that is.
Yeah, we didn't get to that one.
It looks like, if you're listening, it looks like a mom and pop ice cream shop menu. Like somebody just wrote, today it's Rocky Road and whatever. So it's very awkward. Most people just have it on their phone or a napkin or a piece
I've never seen anything like this.
This you just insane. Have it sitting on a stool, very it doesn't distract the audience. This is completely insane.
He's got Rocky was my mentor. Didn't get into his Rocky impression. I thought he was going to for a minute there.
Not nearly enough.
He mentioned Rocky too, and I was like, let me down.
Not to jump ahead too far, but he did stumble a few times and forgot what he was doing.
Oh, yeah.
Do you think these notes could confuse him a little?
Yeah, because they're not even alphabetical. It's all over the place. There's a lot of things, and these aren't even all of them. There's a couple more on the other side. New jokes.
Jesus.
He's got Yacht Rock, Roofie Wife.
Wait a minute, this is a set list.
Son picking college, daughter volleyball. Oh, wife no patience, hot tea, ADD. I didn't get to any of these. I don't think he ever turned around and saw the new jokes.
I think he talked about his wife having very little patience with him.
He does. He talks about his wife a lot. So I was so excited because we're sitting down in the club. It's just a few minutes before the show's about to start. There's an opener from Buffalo coming in. He's been to the comedy club before. They know her pretty well. And before the show starts, there I see Joe walking up on the stage.
Yeah.
And I was like, whoa, what's he doing? So I started videotaping. Okay, so I'm zooming in on him here. So he's up on the stage. No one even recognizes it's him. It's like, it's his big tour, this photo on the thing.
There's a picture of him behind him. And everybody's like, who's this guy?
No one even knows what's going on. So he's making sure he's got all of his notes situated, like I was talking about. Those are the ones behind him with his new jokes. He's got to get those just right. I don't remember him ever looking behind him, though, so it seemed like he should have put them like on the monitors in front of him. All right, walking around a little bit more, making sure everything's in the right place. Now, this is the best. Now he's going back to the green room. So he walks off the stage, and he sees, that says exit. He's like, oh, well, this is probably it. So he walks out, nope, that's not it. That's actually an exit. All right. So then he walks over and he sees his curtains. He's like, oh, it must be back here behind these curtains. And what? No, that's not it. So now he's trying to look cool. It's like, yeah, just scoping around the room, guys. Nothing to see here.
I like curtains.
And then he goes back.
There you go.
There he goes. What's fun about that is that his green room was the Creep Off recording studio where we record our podcast. So there's a lot of WATP posters back there. And don't I get a phone call from one Vinny Paulino last night? And he goes, hey, Carl, guess what your brother did? My brother was there at the show as well. So apparently my brother was getting his photo taken with Joe. Mm-hmm. And he mentioned that, hey, you know, my brother is your biggest antagonist or something like that. And then I'm like, well, why are you bringing that up, right? So then he says something to Mark, the guy who runs the club. And then Mark says something to Vinny. Like, why are you fucking with Joe? The guy's all paranoid now about his show tomorrow night because he's got these people coming to his show. I'm like, okay. Yeah, you had to go and say something.
That was after the show, though, right?
After the show.
Yeah.
Yeah. He didn't know we were there during the show. We were in the back.
Lucky for him.
Yes. We have a special guest here who's actually he's ready to go, it looks like. So I'm going to bring him on. I wasn't planning on talking about his buddy Joe with them, but Anthony Cumia, what's up, buddy?
Hey. Oh my God, I'm already loving it, dude.
It's so exciting.
10 commandments of bits that are written on stone tablets.
Yes. I brought 15 jokes. Oh, 10 jokes.
And these 10 jokes. Dude, who does that? Like, we've all seen comics, especially with new material. They have their little notepad, whatever it is.
Yeah.
If they're trying out stuff. How unbelievably distracting is it to have that shit all over the stage like that? I would be so distracted in the audience. Like, he'll start a bit. I would be going, oh, which one is it? Like, I'd be looking, trying to read which bit he's doing. Terrible.
It was fucking amateur hour. The guy's been doing it for years.
34 years, we're going to find out.
It seems like it was his 5th time doing comedy.
And coming out before he's introduced, and also he had a picture of himself, a life-size picture.
Yes.
So he could have done the same pose. It would have, it's what it looked like. It's like, oh, that's the guy. It's the same guy. You're never supposed to come out on stage before you're announced to do your fucking bit.
Well, what's funny about it is that he promotes himself as the 93.7% Italian tour. So he doesn't expect anyone to know who he is. He just thinks Italians are going to come out to laugh about having plastic on furniture.
Right,
the stuff that every Italian.
Well, it was like Clark Kent. He wasn't wearing the sport coat.
Oh, right.
He went back to put on the sport coat, and then he's in comedy mode, and that's the comedian.
So the other thing he does,
I have something to tell you.
Whoa! The other thing that he does that is so unprofessional is the feature act is up there doing her set, and she does 7 minutes or something like that. And Joe's in the back with Vinny next to us, setting up a tripod on an empty table with his phone so he can record his set. And he's mumbling to Vinny the entire time. He wasn't being quiet about it all. I'm like, the woman's on stage trying to do jokes right now. You're distracting everyone with this.
She was also distracted. The posters were up before she got up there. She looks over. She's like, wow, that's a lot of words on there. I can't wait to hear what this is all about.
She started reading the set.
Oh, my God. He had him up there during the...
Before the show started. And at the end of the show, he forgot her name. Again, just wildly unprofessional. Just like, hey, does anyone remember the opening act's name? Oh, yeah, thanks, Liz.
He was asking the audience. He's like, do you remember what her name was? A big round of applause for old what's-her-name.
Dude,
so funny.
Everyone's been in bands. It's like when you had to open for some band and they wouldn't let you set up your drum kit because theirs was, it took up the entire stage. So you had to set it up on the front of the stage. It's the same type of attitude with Matarese.
Yeah, it's so disrespectful. I remember opening for Gene Ween. I was so excited to open for Gene Ween. They made us set up in front of the stage. We couldn't even fit on the stage because they already sound checked. So embarrassing. Like, this sucks.
Ooh, brutal.
So Joe starts off. Joe's one of these guys who, when a joke doesn't work, he blames the audience immediately. So he starts off by talking about how he lives in New Rochelle because, hey, my wife grew up there, and the woman picks where you live. Am I right, guys? And he gets nothing. He's like, oh, you're embarrassed in front of your wives to say that, right? I'm like, no. That's just you, Joe. Most people make more money than their wives, or they choose where to buy a house, or they both choose together.
Even before that, though, he did the old pander to the sports team The local.
so
how about
poorly.
them Bills?
yeah.
And he doesn't know fuck all about
Worst
football
banter ever.
Yeah. Yeah.
Comedy
He did not.
101. Yep.
Yes. Yeah, he did not know very much about football. He's like, so there's a game this weekend and it's going to be warm, right? Like, don't worry about it, Joe. It's fine. So then he starts calling people out. He's always talking about social media. Like, he's obsessed. He thinks that his career is going to live and die with social media and what he posts. He sees some old people and he's like, social media is working. We got some, how old are you, sir? You're 80. You must have seen this on Facebook, right? Yeah. I swear he's all excited that
Sounds
there's
like
old
the
people
Opie
there.
plan.
Yeah.
Then, so he's giving lessons for other comics. He does that a lot too during his set, which is very funny. He's a mentor. He gives lessons, which we're going to find out. But he says, you know, guys, when you go to an area, you want to ask the audience questions. Because he's like, what kind of cuisine do you guys have? What are you guys known for?
Oh, God.
He goes, you know what you do is you ask questions. You never insult the audience. You never insult anything about their town or where they are. Every other comic I've seen come to this place insults Rochester immediately, and we all enjoy it.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
And they also already have done a little research so they know what is going on
Right.
in the town.
But like you said, he said, don't insult the audience. He asked, what are we known for? Someone said garbage plate.
Yep.
And he says, that doesn't sound very good.
Oh, yeah. And then he's allowing some old lady to explain the contents of it, and he's earnestly like listening to it. It's like this woman is doing the show for him now. That happens a couple of times too. The crowd work was abysmal.
Oh, he got so distracted. At one point, he's talking to this woman who sells graves,
Oh yeah,
and he's just having a conversation with her.
Yeah.
And then finally he goes, oh, I'm sorry, where was I, guys? Does anyone remember? Someone had to remind him the last joke he told so he get back into his act.
that happened at least twice as well.
I wish I had a laser pointer to get to his notes. Oh, you're right here, Joe.
He'd probably chase after it. I wrote down, because I was just taking notes, I just wrote down some of the jokes that I thought were really bad, like his mozzarella joke.
Yes.
Oh yeah, I've heard that one.
You know, this is
Or
the thing
the
where,
Italian thing, I guess.
yeah, Italians, they leave the vowel off because, you know, do you want some mozzarella?
Yeah.
You're like, yeah, I guess.
Never heard that bit.
Pretty good stuff.
When Brian Regan did it.
Right.
There was a lot of retard faces. I have Mr. Butter faces. At
Yes.
one point, he was talking about some guy, and that happened a couple of times too. Where
Well-
the punchline is just making a goofy face, like.
I've seen this before. We talked about the PhD barbecue. So his wife's a PhD. She has all her friends over for a barbecue. And he says, they're using all these big words I don't understand, like frontal lobes. It's like, huh? Like that was in a list of words.
Oh yeah, you like rattled off 2, 3. He's like, what else? What else is a frontal lobe? I guess. Okay. Hilarious.
Sounds good. Let's see. What else did he say? I just wrote down the crowd work is brutal. He's like, where did you go to college? Was one of the questions.
Oh
he
yeah.
asked.
I did think he was gonna just say, let's go around the room and everybody say where you went to college. Oh, the one. He's like, what's the local community college here?
Yes.
And somebody goes, Monroe Community College. You go, oh, it would have been better if it started with the letter R.
Yeah. Someone goes MCC. And he goes, what does the M stand for? Remedial?
Yeah.
Like he had a joke all ready to go, but it didn't work.
My joke only works if the college starts with an R. Do you have can somebody say RIT? Because that would have worked for his set.
That's
Killed
true.
at
You're right.
Rutgers when I was in Jersey.
Yeah.
So Joe must have thought he was doing well because our table was dying nonstop. I just want to say.
Yeah, we were being a little talkative and rude, but
No,
at one
I
point,
don't think we were. I think we were respectful.
the club owner is sitting behind the mixing board, and here's Chris, and just starts cracking up at what Chris is saying. We're just shitting on him the whole
He started
time.
goofing on him too. He was yelling jokes at us.
I know. It was great. There was 3 shows going on at once.
So at the end, he started doing requests. All right, guys, what do you want to hear?
Oh yeah,
At least you could read them off of the little things he had on stage.
Yeah,
so.
people were literally like pointing at the stuff on the stage and
Yeah.
going, "Oh, can you do that one?"
Yacht Rock.
Yeah.
Joe Matarese.
I
Talks about medication a lot, of course.
Yeah.
That's his big thing. And he's so proud of himself. He thinks everyone should be going to a therapist and on tons of drugs. He was promoting Adderall earnestly.
Yeah.
He's just like, you guys got to get on Adderall. You're not on Adderall.
Okay.
It's weird. You're gonna prescribe it for us? Because sure.
At one point, he started heckling himself because he was recounting a gig that he had on a cruise ship where he insisted people move closer and come down, and this drunk asshole comes down and was heckling him, but he's recounting it, and it just turns into him heckling himself, and that was bonkers to me.
Yeah.
Yeah, he had this moment of clarity.
It was this long story about this cruise ship. He called it a yacht. It's a cruise ship. Sure. I don't know why he called it a yacht. And he's going on and on about this gig that he had. And it goes on and on. And at the end of the story, he goes, I wish I had something funny to close that bit with. That's your job. That's your job. Like, you just did a long bit. You got to have like a big closer there.
All setups. No punchline.
Right. It just kind of fizzled out.
The guy just kept yelling, "You suck!" And we're sitting in the back going, "Yeah, he was right."
Yeah.
Jesus.
I'm sure he was drunk, but also he's making some points, you know? Anything else you guys picked up on or wanted to report back on? We had a great time.
Yeah.
Go see Joe Matarese if you can, if he's coming to your town. It's worth it. Yes. It's definitely worth it.
Nice guy.
So a week and a half ago, he was on a show. He's actually promoting this show. He was on a show with Dena Blizzard. Does anyone know who Dena Blizzard is?
No.
I never heard of her either, but she's a comic, and I guess she's been doing it for a while. And she has a YouTube channel called One Funny Mother, and this show, the Tipsy Tuesday, where she drinks her wine in front of the fireplace, and she brings Joe on, and it kind of starts on a downer. I don't know if this is the way that I would bring on a guest.
Joe on?
Yes, exactly.
Look at you. I didn't know you imploded. What imploded?
Yeah. So
I
briefly,
don't know. You're still married.
I know. Joe and I haven't seen each other in forever.
Are you divorced?
So I'm divorced. My dad passed away. I hit menopause. I started getting pellets in my butt, which is a whole conversation.
Pellets?
What a way to start a show right there.
Wow.
Brings on the guest. He's like, what? So wait, you were just saying like everything's horrible in your life right now? Let's elaborate on that to start things off.
These two deserve each other.
They really do.
She's like alternate timeline Marissa Tomei if she was a battered wife.
You're right. It looks like she did used to be pretty hot.
Yeah. You could see something was going on there.
All right.
She's a Jersey 8.
Now, Anthony, you know about this as well as anyone because you were on the infamous episode of Fixin' Joe.
Oh, yeah.
Along with Jim Norton and Artie Lang. And this was Joe's big idea where I'll just talk about how fucked up I am, and then comics can tell me or give me advice on how to do things better or whatever.
He picks the worst three people.
He's like, what are you guys just gonna bust my balls the whole time? Like
For his debut show, we just ripped him apart.
So she asked him about his podcast.
Yeah, but I feel like the last time I saw you, you were doing the podcast with your cousin, right? Was it Morning Joe, Cup of Joe? What was it?
Well, everybody makes fun of me because I had so many different podcasts, but I don't have one now. And I haven't had one for multiple years. But
it was you and your cousin, and he was like a psychologist. Is that
yeah,
him?
we never did a podcast together, but we did live shows with a therapist on stage, where the therapist would kind of sit there on stage and take notes while the comedian was on stage, and then he would psychoanalyze him, and I was like the Dr. Drew on the show. I was the in-between.
Ah.
Okay. I have a lot to say about this. First off, he said he hasn't had a podcast in years. It was just last year he rented out that studio in Manhattan and was doing that show with the other guy, and then Blind Mike found it and started goofing on it, and we did, and then he abandoned it immediately because he took them all down and got scared. I even signed up for his Patreon, and he canceled everything on us. So that's a lie. He's just like, I've done one of the years. I don't even look. Don't even bother looking for that. But isn't that crazy that he had this other show? It wasn't even a podcast. I didn't even know about this. Where a therapist is on the stage, psychoanalyzing a comic, and then he's the Dr. Drew. Like, Dr. Drew has medical credentials.
Yes. He meant he was the Adam Carolla, but
Maybe that's what he meant.
yeah.
Okay.
He fucked that up too.
Okay. I'm like, everything he thinks about is like around therapy. That's not entertainment. This is not what people enjoy. No. Those weren't the best scenes from Sopranos.
No.
He's trying to he's been trying to reinvent stand-up comedy for years with this new idea. I'm going to do this with therapists. I'm going to, his special brand of comedy, the therapy thing. Just get up and tell some funny setups and punchlines. That's it. You don't have to reinvent the whole genre.
Now, Anthony, tell me, maybe you and I have talked about this before, but I think it was Dan Filato was telling me this, that when Joe first started off, he was considered one of the best comics and a rising star on the circuit.
Yeah.
He was so quick. He was so good with crowd work. His jokes were really funny. And then he met his wife, and his wife put him on all this medication. And he's just kind of like a shell of what he used to be.
Yeah, comics should not take like psycho medications. They need to be fucked up. They need to have some kind of problems. You drug them up and they start doing what Joe's doing.
Yeah, could you imagine like Rodney Dangerfield was on Ritalin?
Oh my God.
Just like, I get about the respect I deserve.
Hey, let me tell you, my wife loves me and I feel good about it, all right?
That's pretty much what Joe's act is.
Yeah.
It's so weird. So Joe taught stand-up class to teenagers over the summer.
Right.
And got his son.
Those that can't do.
Yes, and got his son involved to be part of this. And I know you have some clips on this, but they do, like, whenever you do a stand-up class, at the end, you do like a show, and then all the friends and family come and watch the show. Joe headlined it. Joe decided to headline his own stand-up class.
Your son clearly has watched you do stand-up. My kids have watched me do stand-up.
Well, they haven't seen me like crush it. Like, I think like I had to go up at the end of the comedy school, because you're I did the dumb thing, which is headline the graduation show.
Yeah.
And my son's there, my wife's there, and my 12-year-old daughter are there. And
okay.
If you want to throw a comedian off, just throw family members right in the front row. That's all you got to do.
It's not good.
I can't do comedy in front of my wife and 2 kids. I felt totally not like my normal self. I was like all self-conscious.
Mm-hmm.
I want to be at that show. I want to see all these teenagers and what they learned from Joe, and then watch him bomb. Does everyone get their money back after that?
Like, if you're a teen, Joe is 100 years old to a teenager, and he gets up there and starts doing comedy like that. They probably have zero to relate to. They can't find, like, they're going to think Pong in the 80s is hilarious.
Yeah, he talks a lot about like growing up in the 70s and the 80s and what that was like. Yeah. I can only imagine him guiding another comic because he's so bad at it himself. So, someone comes up, he's just like, what is that, an Irish last name? Oh, great. Okay, so what if you did your entire set about how you're Irish? I don't know. I don't really care about that much. No. You don't understand, because there's other Irish people, and then they'll all want to come to your show to see you tell jokes about potatoes. You're definitely going to want to jump on this. Nah, I don't know. I was just going to make some like observational jokes about things that we all experience every day.
You might be a Mick if...
Andy, do you have anything from that?
His wife was forcing Joe's son to go to the comedy class with him. She's like, you got to get a job, or you got to go to school, or have some kind of recreational activity. It can't just all be Fortnite all summer long. So Joe's dragging him along, and this is my clip 1, and this is how serious Joe's son was taking this comedy class.
Oh, no.
And I'm a comedian, so I have to throw the family under the bus. It's not funny if I'm nice about my kid right now.
Yeah.
I think he came with me into the city in my car and was an hour late to my class because he's like, I'm going to go grab something to eat really fast, which took an hour and 10 minutes. I'm like, there's 40 pizza places on this block.
Yeah.
Like,
where did you go? Yeah.
Yeah. And then I remember the next week he came and he was like sleeping in the middle of the comedy class, and I'm like, dude, you're killing me. You can't fall asleep. These guys are pursuing their dreams.
Yes, but I'm listening to your set, Dad.
Yeah.
I can't help but fall asleep.
I like how you said, these guys are pursuing their dreams. This guy is pursuing his dream. Don't fall asleep in front of me. It makes me feel bad.
What's so weird about Joe's career, and God bless him, he's got some fortitude. He's sticking with it. But he was on America's Got Talent. He tells that whole story. He was on other TV shows and has been on Howard Stern's show, not as the laughing stock, but because he was touring with Artie and they were buddies and they brought him on the show. And he knows all those people. And yet he's calling Vinnie Paulino to see if he can get 2 nights in Rochester, New York in January and play the Rickles room, the smaller of the 2 rooms at the comedy club. He's sticking with it though. I think I'd be like, well, I'll go into like insurance sales or something at this point.
Oh, fuck. I forgot this at the end when you showed the picture that I got with him at the end of the night. There was virtually nobody left in the place, and he's getting a drink at the bar. I see him there, and I'm just like, oh, hey, Joe, thanks for coming up north, and we had a great time. And he's like, oh, were you in the main room? I was like, no, I was at your show. He couldn't believe that I actually attended his show.
He thought you went to Orlando Jones. That's hilarious.
Yeah. But
I chased everyone out of here.
In my clip 3, though, where we talked about how his son didn't respect the work that he does.
Yeah.
And during COVID, there was nothing better to do than him and his daughter put on this terrible, they had like an app where you can feature your act and sell tickets to it or something like that. And this is his daughter's reaction after doing her first comedy set with her dad.
During COVID, there used to be an app. I don't even think it exists anymore. It was called Stage It. Did you ever hear of that one?
No.
It was popular for about 3 or 4 years. And when COVID hit, it got really popular. You could basically do what you're doing right now.
Okay.
And you could charge cover charges. And people would have to buy tickets to it, which you can do now through all the social media. But back then, you couldn't do it through any social media. So her and I decided we were going to do a sketch comedy show. We wrote sketches together, and we acted them out in front of the camera and sold tickets. Of course, it was, all friends and family and neighbors.
That's awesome.
And when she was done, she goes, Daddy, that wasn't fun. And I go, that's because you don't get the best part of being a comedian. You're just hearing laughter. When you do this, it's like there's no laughter, as you know.
His kids hate him.
now you know how I feel, Sally. When he fucking laughs.
Of course, it's not fun. It's comedy.
You know when he said she and I decided that we were going to do this. No, he decided.
Yep.
He grabbed her up. She wanted to play Fortnite or whatever, and made her do this. And then at the end, she's just like, "This isn't fun.
This sucks.
I'm not having fun."
Yeah. To the softest audience of your grandmother and her friends.
And they're charging money to these people too on top of it. It's kind of messed up.
Shaking down the family.
But I guess the biggest peak of his career was when he was on America's Got Talent and Howard Stern's there and Howie Mandel and he brings his family out. So he's got his kids and his wife and standing ovation. And like he said, his son's a celebrity at school the next day and all this stuff. And wow. Have things fallen off since then because he got the next appearance after he's like, I'm going to win this whole thing. He comes on and there's no audience there and just the 4 judges and they give him nothing.
Yeah.
They just stare at him. And he was off the show after that, which I gotta think that's horrible for your career. If you're on television and there's celebrities hating you.
Yeah. Clip 7.
Oh, do you have 7? Okay.
This was a mistake by me. I picked the same act that I had planned in front of the audience. Now, anyone that's a stand-up comedian would probably know if you're doing stand-up for 4 people versus 1,000, you need to do jokes that are quick, right? I just did the same thing that was like this story about my wife that sucks.
I see how you edited that.
But then he goes on to say that Dan Natterman, who I love and everybody would agree is way funnier than Joe, he didn't even have to do that version of the set. They were just like, you're on, and we already have the middle-aged white guy who's funny, so you're fucking out. And they just...
Yeah, it seemed like they did set him up.
Ushered him out the door. Yeah.
I have this clip. It's a little bit tedious. So I'm going to warn you. But it really does summarize Joe and even the act that we saw last night, how he gets distracted by something and he can't let it go. He can't just move on. So he's talking about America's Got Talent, and there was another comic on the season that he was on who was very funny.
I was against a girl comic who was really funny, and she was semi-famous. I mean, she probably did Letterman 12 times. Why am I forgetting her? She has those real misdirection type jokes. And she lives in Los Angeles. Why am I forgetting her name? She's
You're not talking about Tig.
Not Tig. She's in the next era before Tig. I don't want to sound anti-Semitic, but Jewish woman.
Oh,
Dark hair.
Judy.
How dare you?
He said Jew!
The hard J.
Stuttering John level anti-Semitism. But look at this. I'm 31 seconds into a 2-minute long clip. At this point, you just be like, well, anyway, so she was in it too. She was great. So I knew I didn't have a chance. But no, watch this.
Not Judy Gold. She's real misdirection. Like when I say misdirection, I mean, you know, those comedians that take you like Tom Cotter style, where they do a word play to take you the other way.
We know what misdirection
She
means.
was famous for that. She was the first comedian I ever saw that really did that misdirection style, and she was real dry. Not Stephen Wright dry, but just a little more.
He knows every other comic's name.
It's misdirecting. Like when you say, let's go see comedy, and then you take me to a Joe Matarese show.
As opposed to those jokes you see coming a mile away.
Yeah. She did these things. They were punchlines. Yeah. Setups, punchlines.
And the chat is just throwing shit at the wall. Like, is it this person? Is it this person?
Looney Tunes expert actually has it. Our chat.
Someone will get it.
Yeah.
And she was like big in the 90s. So I was told that was the other. She used to open for Howie Mandel.
It's not Sarah Silverman.
No, more like jokey, like quick jokes.
Yeah.
I know her. God, she used to.
Could you imagine Sarah Silverman on America's Got Talent? She had her own TV show at this time. What are you talking about?
A guy that I know.
Miriam, Lisa Ann. I don't know who any of those people are.
That's a close one, like a Lisa
porn
Ann
stars.
Walton. Is that what you were going to say? Yeah, she's around that same time period. If you just looked up female comedians that have done Letterman 10 to 15 times, there's probably not a lot.
Judy Tenuto. That's an amazing guess.
That's a good one. That's a good one. But Judy Tenuto, not dry. She had an accordion. I'm Judy Tenuto. It was Judy Tenuto, right?
Gosh, yeah.
So to the rest of the story,
finally moves on. But we were watching this last night. We just get distracted on something and just go off in a while. It's just like, what are we doing? Are we just having a conversation with this person in the corner now? Is that what's going on?
Hey, guy in the third row, what was I talking about? That happened a couple of times.
But I think the reason why he lets himself get distracted is because he's looking for that viral moment. And he's a lot like Opie in this way.
Yes.
He's trying to capture that moment that's going to go viral and get him the millions of views, and he can go on that big tour, and everyone will know who he is. And they'll all be going,
if
Joey.
you have gray in your beard, you're never getting a viral video.
No.
It's just the way it is. It's for the young.
Right. Unless your son is fat and likes Costco.
Right.
You're not going to go viral.
Yeah,
when you're that age.
Yep, my clip 8, he's talking
you get
about
a catchy boom song, maybe. But
Oh my God. Someone just sent me their latest one where they're with a band. Have you seen this one, Anthony?
Oh, I have. It's huge.
The Rizzler is playing like the Eddie Van Halen guitar. Eddie Van Halen's estate needs to sue these people.
Yeah.
It's crazy that they would do that.
Defamation.
It's defamation.
it's drama again. It's like, I don't know how to that's something I haven't figured out as a comedian.
What's that?
It's how to be dramatic on the internet and have that be some thing that gets you a big following. I can't figure it out.
Most of the time when we've had videos go viral, it's because I'm drunk in them. I don't know if that'll help you at all. But I was.
The thing is I've
Pretty good
had
advice.
videos go viral. You need 200 videos to go viral. I've had some that have, they'll do the YouTube ones, but sometimes they're drama. Like I had some guy telling me I was racist in Hartford, and him and his wife walked out of the show, and this guy in the audience imitated them, and it was really hilarious. Like,
So I found that video.
Yeah, it went viral because somebody else was funny.
Yeah.
Hey.
Literally,
Yeah, it's Joe, but other people were hilarious.
the way that Joe thinks about it, like, there's got to be drama involved. Or it could be like, who's that guy? Not Matt Riley. That young comic who just does crowd work.
Rife.
Matt Rife, yeah.
Wendy Liebman.
Lisa Ann.
So this is the video he's referring to.
And Latinos, great middle infielders.
So this video has 440,000 views, 5 months old. And he's blurred out the people for some reason, even though they're getting up and leaving. So he's doing all this work on this video too. Watch him wobble out, and he's really working very hard to show you what's happening in this video.
I'm racist. I say racist.
So this goes on and on and on, and then finally this is the big moment over here.
How old? 63. Look good. 62. You guys look good. That's racist.
Okay, so that's a moment, right? The guy does a callback from the heckler earlier. He goes, "Oh, that's racist." Watch Joe ruin it. This is Joe's instincts right here.
You scared the shit out of me. Oh my god. That was good. I gotta get that on camera. This guy. Do that again. Do it again. Do it again.
Fucking racist! Fuck off!
Could you imagine, Anthony, someone said something funny, and I've seen this happen. Jim Norton shows, I've heard people say very funny things quickly, and he'll address it and move on. Could you imagine, it's like, "Sir, hold on, get down here. Let's mic this guy up. That was a great line. Come here.
Do it again.
Do it again.
Do it again. Anything funny that you say, do it again? What?
Yeah.
You have zero comic instinct.
That's how comedy works."
Wow.
So yeah, that's his big viral
That's
video.
way too bright in there, too, for a comedy club. Jesus.
Well, probably because he was filming. He's filming the audience. And
Great.
the audience,
So
it
ruin
looks
the
like,
show just to get fucking pour light all over everybody.
yeah, that's a good point. You're right. You could see each other way too well in the
Yeah,
audience.
you don't want that.
And they look like they're sitting at picnic tables. Like this is like a
Yeah.
VFW or something, I would imagine. Low ceiling.
Yeah.
But no, I mean, good for him. He's still killing it. Let's talk about this tour that he's on. The 93.7% Italian.
wish I
That's
could.
awesome. And so, is that a real statistic? You said, what is the name of the tour? You're how many percent Italian?
Well, my wife came up with that number because I remember asking her PhD help. I go, I need a number.
Is that a real statistic? 93.7% Italian. He goes, "No, in fact, I didn't even come up with it."
Yeah.
I couldn't.
He had his wife come up with a number that what was the criteria? Is that as 93.7? Is that funnier than like 96.8?
Well, yeah, obviously.
Oh, okay. See, I just don't know comedy.
Joe's wife does, apparently. She came up with that.
Well, it was funny when Lucy sent the picture of the promotional material that says, even if you're not Italian, you'll still be. It was
Still
like
enjoy
6.7%,
6.7%,
which comes to
100.4.
Yes.
Yeah.
So the math was wrong, and I told my buddy Vinny this because it's on their website. And he goes, "Oh, we just post whatever they send us."
Yeah.
So the math was wrong in the promotional material, and then he does the math wrong on this as well, which I'm a little nitpicky, but
There was a joke. That one did well social media wise. The joke about how
he did this joke at the show last night too. But he always judges how funny jokes are based on how many views it got on social media.
Social media.
I have a clip. I won't even get to it probably. There's a clip where it's just like, yeah, and this joke, people loved it. It got like 1 million views. It's like, oh, okay, that's not how jokes work, but all right.
my dad's brother did the 23andMe, and I always was told growing up that we were 100% Italian because my parents are both Italian and their parents are all Italian. So growing up, when we grew up, meant you were 100%. And then the joke was how my uncle did the test, and it turned out we were 60% Italian, 20. I'm going to do the math wrong now because I haven't done the joke in a while. 22% West Asian, 18%. I'm trying to remember them. I can't do math on a live podcast. 18% North African, and 2%. Oh, I did the math right? And 2% Sephardic Jewish. I go, in all these years, I thought my family was racist. They're not. They're just self-deprecating. That was a joke.
Whoa.
So if you don't have scrap paper out at home, that added up to 102%. And he's like, whoa, I got the math right.
Nailed it.
Thought I was going to embarrass myself for a second there.
Funniest math class ever.
Pretty good stuff. So he's got a buddy whose name is Josh Wolf, another person I've never heard of. And I follow comedy pretty close. So you know who Josh Wolf is, Ant?
No.
So this guy apparently is a comic, and him and his son were on the road together doing shows. And Joe oftentimes, I will say this, he says the quiet part out loud. He doesn't have a filter. He says things that are embarrassing all the time.
I actually tour now with my son, who's 25, and my daughter, 22, and my mom, she's 76.
So you're like Josh Wolf. You know him?
No, who's Josh Wolf?
Josh Wolf's doing amazing with him and his son. Josh Wolf used to do Chelsea Lately with me. He's one of the only comedians out there that's doing really well and actually gets back to me when I hit them up for a favor.
Oof. So sad.
It's like Chad's Jim Florentine.
Yes. He lets me come to a Super Bowl party and everything.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like I'm one of the guys. So that's kind of sad. Now, you hear that Dena's talking about this show that she does, and they play theaters, and she goes all over the place with her son and her daughter and her mom, and they all go out and do stand-up. And so
Eddie Foy and the Seven Little Foys. Sounds like vaudeville.
yes. But Joe hears this and goes, this is amazing. But he thinks it has to be on social media or else it can't be successful. And he's very confused that she's playing large venues and stuff like that.
This is doing well. I mean, this isn't struggling. Like, this is doing well. Like, how do you bring the family into the social media side of things? You don't.
Well, nobody will do anything. Diana, my mom is on.
How are you selling all these tickets and getting bookings in all these places?
See, he thinks that everything has to do with, but have you had a video go viral? What do you mean you're selling tickets? How is that?
No one sold tickets before social media. No one packed venues.
Yeah. Joe is stuck. He's stuck in this thing where he's just like, I just need this viral video and then my career is going to take off. I swear to God, it's going to happen. He probably has this conversation with his wife all the time, which is why he has to set up his little phone on every show and try to capture the magic.
Very Opie-centric.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But the other thing about Joe is that he doesn't know what he's doing with his life. We've heard him talk about this on his show, Fixing Joe and stuff like that. And whenever he's having a conversation with someone, he's always looking for a new thing to do, a new career.
I'm an opener that does 50 minutes, and then she comes in, does a tight 5, and kills, and everybody loves her.
But this sounds so easy for you to do social media with all of you. So you got to I'm ready to come over your house when you're all together and just start filming shit and cut it together.
Yeah.
Like, I'm going to quit comedy and manage you guys. What the hell? That's like, I haven't seen anyone. That's when you know it's a good idea, when you can't think of anyone doing it.
Is that true?
God, Jesus.
It's got to work. It's never happened before. It's not the case. But you see how quickly he's just like, all right, I'll tell you what. I'll film it and I'll do all the editing and I'll manage you guys. And she's like, no, we don't need that. We're doing fine. They even talk about, for a while, I won't play the clips. You might have something, Andy. But they start talking about, because Joe's just looking for advice on shows to play all the time. Mm. So he's asking about different theaters she plays and which ones get good crowds. And, well, can I do this one? He's like, how many does that hold? She's like, 800. He's like, oh, wow. Oh, maybe there's another place in that area.
Is there a Rickles room?
Rickles room.
It's really funny to watch. And again, this is just him being a little too honest.
Nice. Somebody said, how about Cincinnati?
No.
Ohio
the
coming
Go
up?
Bananas doesn't book me anymore. I haven't been there in like 12, 15 years. I used to do that club a lot. I don't go Midwest hardly ever. I go Northeast Florida, back and forth. It's like that's where the Italians are, and I just go back and forth.
Empty Daily says it's not that he doesn't have a filter; he's just not that bright. He might be onto something. Yeah, I don't do Go Bananas anymore. They don't book me.
The big difference between someone like Opie or John or Chad or anything and Joe is a likable guy.
Yes.
Like, he's a nice guy. You don't have contempt for him because he's an asshole or anything like that, like these other guys. He's a nice enough guy, and you feel for him, you know? But, man, he just doesn't really have this comedy thing down.
No, it's not happening for him, which is fun to watch.
No, you feel bad for him more than not like him, you know?
Oh, yeah. To your point, one of the first times that we focused on one of his podcasts, Gino sent me a text. And, he showed a photo of him watching us goof on Joe. And he's like, Carl, I'm crying over this episode, but I just want you to know that Joe's one of the nicest guys. You would love to hang out with him. Yeah. He's a total sweetheart. I'm like, no, I believe you, Gino. I'm sure he is. I have no problem with the guy. I don't think he's going to try to get us canceled or anything like that. Anything else you want to play from this episode, Andy? Anything else you picked up on?
Just the last thing was clip 9. This is when he's talking about those early days where everybody that's ever made it used to record themselves on a tape recorder, or like put on their own little radio show or do stand up through a guitar amp in their basement. And you could just tell that they're destined for greatness unless you're Joe's mother and grandmother.
I used to have I played guitar when I was in high school, and I had a guitar amp that I would plug a microphone in when I was 16, and I would go down in our basement and I would just talk into that thing. And I would listen to comedians on records, and I would memorize their acts. I mean, all the stuff that you ever hear a comedian talk about that gets famous when you see their biography. I didn't know that, but I was I was doing all that shit by accident, so it's amazing that my parents weren't you should be trying to do comedy. It was the opposite. My mom was shut up, it's too loud, turn it off. That was what I grew up with. My grandma my grandma lived around the block. She was brutal. Till she died, she was telling me to quit comedy. Till the last breath, she's like, "You just quit.
You suck."
Oof. Smart
He's
way
describing Rupert Pupkin from comedy.
Yes, turn it down.
To a T.
I have to do
Rupert,
this now.
You're going to miss the bus, Rupert. You got to go to work. Ma, I got to do this now.
Maybe Joe should kidnap Jimmy Fallon. That's how he's going to go viral.
Yes.
He's got a Tonight Show set in his basement.
He would mull it over if you told him that. Let's go back to the comedy club tonight and talk to him after the show. We got some ideas for you. You want that drama to happen?
Viral moment. That'll do it.
I also want to maybe check in on this Dena Blizzard some more. She seems interesting. This is what her YouTube channel looks like.
So everybody's talking about a new app called Pokemon Go where kids can go around and find Pokemon. But did you know there's an app for moms?
This is an 8-year-old video that is the autoplay when you go to her YouTube page.
Oh, yeah, this is pinned.
Yeah, I think that she just likes that she looks younger in it, because who's going to listen to a video about Pokemon Go?
Go to my MySpace.
So she's got almost 29,000 subscribers, which is admirable. A little better than us, actually. But these videos are not doing huge numbers. She gets a few hundred on most of these. She does morning shows and the Tipsy Tuesday. It's interesting to see that actually the one with Joe Matarese has fewer views than
you don't say.
Most of the other ones.
Who are these